So grammatical range and accuracy is the topic for today.
Yes,
We're
yes,
going
it
to have
is.
some fancy presentation.
Come on. It's not that fancy as you think it is. Okay. Let's see.
Let's
Let's
see.
go to grammatical range and accuracy in IELTS Writing
Okay.
Task 2.
Yes.
Okay.
So what do we mean by grammatical range? What do we mean
Exactly.
by accuracy and everything
Exactly.
around them?
Uh, exactly.
So
Okay.
are you
Let me
sharing your screen?
just.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
Privilege. Okay. So let's start presentation. Grammatical range and accuracy. Okay, from the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start by the definition to see that, okay, what do we mean by, here it is. What do we mean by grammatical range? Okay, grammatical range means actually the variety of the sentence structures and the grammatical forms that we can use in our essay. Actually, it shows the ability to convey some complex ideas effectively through diversified grammar usage. And we're going to see that, okay, what is the
Okay.
importance
Can
of
I
that?
suggest something just before we
Yes, yes,
continue? If you go
yeah,
back twice,
yes,
I just want to share something with our audience here. So
here,
yeah, okay. So it started from here. Did you notice how cool the zoom was in the first slide on the left? So you
yes,
just
and of
skipped the
course right
coolest
here.
part. Yeah. So this this
Uh-huh.
is this is a whole topic in this presentation, grammatical range and accuracy in IELTS Writing Task 2. So now let's go in
Yeah,
to
yes,
the
here this
first
is the
one, which
important.
is just this topic of range, and then you explain the first slide, which was basically
Yeah,
what we mean by range. In short, what
yes.
we mean is being able to convey or communicate complex ideas effectively through diversified grammar usage. So let's go and continue
Mhm.
from you. Just wanted to show off the presentation.
Okay, sure. And yeah, so let's see what the importance of this is in IELTS writing. It is really vital in evaluating our IELTS writing performance because a diverse range improves that clarity and engagement. We talked about cohesion and coherence and task achievement in previous videos. And here is the other factor that allows us to convey ideas more effectively and attract higher score. It's really of high importance here. And so, what are some key elements? One of these factors that can actually help us to achieve this band score is using varied sentence types. Because it can enhance our writing style and it can help us to communicate ideas more effectively. And so, what do we mean by sentence types? It means a mixture of simple, compound, complex, and conditional sentences. So just let's take a short, introduction to them. That okay, what do we mean by simple sentences? A simple sentence just has one independent clause. Here, as you can see, an example here. Rahim, would you please read the example? The government.
Yeah. So simple sentences contain this whole part, you mean, or just the example part of it?
Just example, yes, just
Okay,
example.
the government prioritizes education.
That's a simple sentence.
Yep.
Okay, and it's good that we just don't use just simple sentences. Okay,
Yep.
so what do we mean by compound sentences? In compound sentences, we've got two independent clauses, just linked by a coordinating conjunction. So again, this is the example. Would you please read that?
Yeah, but before that, I was just looking at the sticky paper. I couldn't understand what the word was on that.
Here.
That was really interesting. Yeah. Is it
Uh-huh.
Baksika? What is that? I have
Baksika.
no idea what that is. Well, we should look it up maybe.
Yeah,
If it's
maybe.
English. I have no idea if
I
it's
don't think
English.
so. Maybe, maybe,
Is it?
maybe it is.
Do you know what it
I
is?
don't know. No,
Let-
no, I don't know. Actually, I
I'm so
didn't.
curious. I have to
It
check
wasn't
right now.
part
Don't worry about it. We can edit this part out if we want to.
Mexico.
Just
Mexico.
I
I
mean,
think it's just no. It's not a word. I believe. Do you think it's a word? I don't think it's a word. It's made up. I think that's
is
my
it?
idea. Yeah, I think it
It
is.
means I'm sorry in Hungarian.
Really?
Yes.
No.
And look at the sad face after that. So that there's a sad
Oh
face
my
emoji.
god. Oh
So
my
yeah.
god.
Now we learned a new word in Hungarian now. It means I'm sorry in Hungarian. Now I don't know about the pronunciation. Is it Baksika or Baksika or I don't know where the so
Hungarian.
yeah, so it means I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I'm sorry for the interruption. I asked you to look
That
at the
was
sticky
good to
page.
know, and
So that's
actually.
what I should say to you now, Baksika. So let's go back to the example.
Okay.
Okay, now I know the example is
Compound
just
sentence.
the part between the quotation marks. Okay.
Yes, yes.
The government, so you want to zoom in? So if you go in one step forward,
Here.
I
Okay.
think you will, yes, okay, beautiful. It's a fancy zoom in. The government prioritizes education and it must allocate funds. So here we have a
Yes.
comma and there's a second
Exactly.
part to the sentence.
Exactly. So this can add that variety to our writing while linking the ideas. And it's
Okay.
not that hard, actually. Okay.
So one example of a compound sentence is linking multiple ideas in one sentence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now a complex sentence. Maybe here is the part where students need more practice. You know, the complex sentences, they include one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. Like the example here again, if you would please read.
Sure. So although education is key, healthcare also requires investment.
Uh-huh.
So the main clause here is the second part after the comma. So the main thing is healthcare requires investment, but you want to add some dependent, or you can say just a more unimportant part of the sentence is although something is true, and then something else
Yes.
is the key point of what you want to convey. So although education is key,
Exactly.
so there's no debate. Education is important. However, healthcare requires investment is the main idea in this sentence.
Yes.
Beautiful.
It would be very good to use some of these sentences.
Yeah.
Of course, a mix. Of course, a mix of. Okay. And then conditional sentences.
Yeah.
As we know, and I mean the name implies that the conditional sentences, they express hypothetical situations.
Yeah.
Here I read the example. If the government invests in education, the economy may benefit. So if this is the condition, then the result will be something. They enhance the discussion by exploring potential outcomes and consequences. You know, we can just talk about some results.
Yeah.
And Rahim, if you want to read here, that's confidential. That's English, the word here.
Yes, it is.
That's fine.
Well, I don't know what the root of the word confidential is, but I
So
don't want to look this one up. But I do want
good.
to add something to
What? Yeah.
this point here. So some of
Yes.
the viewers might say, well, conditional sentences are also considered complex sentences, which is correct. In some categorization, you may say we have simple, compound, and complex sentences, and they also put conditional sentences under the umbrella of complex sentences. So that's also another categorization, just in case some of the viewers were wondering why conditional sentences is separate here. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you. And then now there is another key element, which is use of advanced grammar. You know, I should say that by advanced, we don't mean high technical words or very rare, grammatical structures. We don't mean that. It means employing advanced grammar showcases our proficiency, which includes techniques such as passive voice and relative clauses, for example, which enrich writing and demonstrate command of language. So it doesn't mean that technical kind of structures that students use a lot in their writing and then it just makes confusion.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And if we just pause here for 1 second, I'm sorry for interrupting this beautiful presentation.
No, of course.
So I'm having fun going zooming out, in and out in Prezi. So here, use of advanced grammar, something that needs to be added here is if you overuse this, or if you use it where it is not appropriate. For example, sometimes it is not appropriate to use passive voice. So if you insist on using passive voice just because you want to use it, you are going to lose marks. So passive, you need to know exactly when passive use should be used. Passive use, did I say? Passive voice should be used, or relative clauses. It's not always appropriate to go with so-called advanced grammar in this example. So it's important to be able to use them when appropriate.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now that's why we want to just check quickly that what passive voice is, you know, that when we want to use that. Passive voice emphasizes the action or receiver rather than the doer. So it could be really appropriate for formal writing of task 2. And for example, educational funding is often overlooked by policymakers because here our focus is educational funding. It is effective in creating objective statements. That's where
Yes,
we can use passive voice.
that's right. It's a great example.
And relative clauses. Relative clauses add information about a noun, like policies that emphasize education lead to benefits. They create depth and detail, enhancing the reader's understanding. They're really good in order to, remove any kind of confusion, if we can use them correctly, of course.
Mhm. That's right. So you can say the original sentence was shorter. It was policies lead to benefits. But what policies exactly lead to benefits? So you want to explain further what policies you have in mind. So you say policies that emphasize education, not the ones on economy, not the ones on agriculture. Those that emphasize education lead to benefits in this example.
Right. Okay, now we
Look
want
at
to
that
go
zoom
to
out. Okay,
another
that's fancy.
part. Okay, range is over. Now accuracy. We want to know about grammatical accuracy. What do we mean by that?
Okay.
Okay.
So before we start accuracy, can I just summarize very briefly what we talked
Yes,
about?
of course, that would be awesome.
So the first part of the grammar section in IELTS Writing Task 2 was grammatical range. That's the first aspect of grammar. So by range, we mean using variety of grammatical structures. And we had these three main categories: simple sentences, compound sentences, and complex sentences, with the examples that we had. But now that you have some range in your grammar, it's important to have accuracy. So what is accuracy?
Yes, exactly. Accuracy refers to the correct use of grammar, punctuation and sentence structure in writing. This includes ensuring that sentences are complete, clear, and conform to grammatical rules, thereby facilitating effective communication.
Or
Everything is correct here.
in other words, they are error-free.
Exactly. That's my next. I'm
Oh,
going
that's the
to
next
talk
slide.
about that.
Oh,
No, not the
I
next
can
slide. The
read
next
the
point.
future.
Yes, you can read my
Nice.
mind. Actually, I've written about that. First, importance of this in IELTS writing, as we talked about range. Grammatical accuracy plays a significant role here. It affects the overall band score and demonstrates the writer's proficiency in language use. It shows our level of English and making it essential for achieving a higher score, of course. And now, first let's talk about correct sentence formation. Correct sentence formation involves structuring sentences properly to convey ideas clearly. You see how we emphasize, how much we emphasize on clarity of the sentences. I mean, any confusion should be avoided. This includes avoiding fragments and ensuring that subject-verb agreement is okay there, and using correct tenses consistently. Something that I see that lots of students have a lot of problems about using the correct tenses throughout the writing. And okay, now we want to say what fragments are, that we want to avoid. Fragments are incomplete sentences, that they lack a subject, verb, and they lead hugely to confusion. Maintaining complete sentences is essential for clarity and coherence in written work, ensuring that ideas flow logically. It's very important not just to, leave sentences there without any full stop, period, and just writing something as a phrase. Those are fragments, and that's very important. Okay. And subject-verb agreement. What do we mean by that? This is also one of the most important key factors here, that subject-verb agreement requires the subject and verb to match in number. For example, the government needs to allocate funds is correct, while the government needs to allocate funds is not, leading to grammatical inaccuracies. We see lots of these in writings of students when we are working on this. It's very important. Okay, and the tense usage. Using the correct tense is vital for conveying the timeline of events accurately. For instance, saying the economy will grow if education is prioritized clearly indicates a future condition, whereas incorrect tense use can create confusion. especially in second conditional, you know, but if you mean something in present or future form.
Yeah. So an example right here on this slide would be that you have a to-do list on the sticky note that there's nothing on. But imagine in your on this list you have, I went shopping. That wouldn't make sense. It's a to-do list. That's something you want to do in the future. Okay,
Exactly.
so go shopping, or I will go shopping, or something like that. But imagine you just write as a sentence, I went shopping. That's not a to-do list. That's a diary.
Exactly. Right. And the error-free part that you mentioned, the grammar should be
Finally.
error-free. Finally, yes. It means avoiding common grammatical mistakes, such as, it happens a lot, misplaced modifiers or incorrect articles. You know, I don't know, students have the tendency to use it there for lots of things, but it's not like that. It's not like this, that we can use it anywhere that we like. So mastery of these elements is fundamental to presenting clear and professional writing, of course, if you want to have a high score. That's a kind of error-free grammar, common mistakes, learn from our mistakes.
So just to be clear, uncommon mistakes are still mistakes. So the reason it's common grammatical mistakes here is because those tend to reduce your mark more than occasional slips that might occur when you're dealing with uncommon grammatical mistakes. So I will go over the band descriptors today, and our audience can see that it's really interesting. Actually, good news in grammatical range and accuracy is you can get a 9 even if you have some minor errors, if they are rare. Yes.
They are rare. Yeah. Okay. And the common errors, of course, here is in more detail: misuse of articles, prepositions. I forgot to talk about prepositions, and basic punctuation mistakes. Punctuation is also important here. For example, look at, for example, then we have a comma, then education promotes innovation. It shows correct punctuation, essential for clarity in writing. Sometimes if you just don't put that comma there, the meaning will be, you know, confusing in some ways. So it's also important here.
So many funny memes with the lack of comma on social media.
Exactly, exactly. And so that's why we have a slide for proper punctuation. You know, that is crucial. It aids in structuring sentences and clarifying meaning. Misplaced punctuation can alter the intended message and can cause misunderstanding, as we just talked about that.
Okay, so punctuation is part of grammar.
Yes, of course. And then another element, which is the last, is consistency and clarity, of course. Consistency in verb tense and clarity in sentence structure enhance the readability of your writing. Maintaining a uniform approach helps the reader follow your arguments and improves overall comprehension. That, again, cohesion and coherence, as we talked about, it's really important here.
Yeah, so the key point here is mistakes in grammar sometimes lead to problems with coherence and cohesion too. So it's not just messing with your grammar, but it's also messing with other criteria.
Yes. Okay. And here. Here just there are some tips, you know, to improve. Okay, now what we can do if we want to improve this part.
Both for range and accuracy, right?
Yes, yes, of course. So practice writing complex sentences. You know, again, we mentioned that not high technical, or I don't know, some rare sentences, but incorporating a variety of complex sentences can enhance clarity and sophistication in writing. Practice using subordinate, dependent, and relative clauses to express significant ideas that promote critical thinking. You know, just using simple, simple, simple cannot lead us here. So we need a range, we need a mix, especially complex sentences. It shows how proficient we are. Okay. And it's very important to avoid repetitive structures. You know, we don't mean over simplification. We don't mean just use very, very, very simple sentences. Not we like sophistication, but avoid repetitive structures. To improve our essay, we can vary our sentence structures and length. Over-reliance on similar patterns reduces engagement and can lead to lower scores in grammatical range and accuracy. Of course, over-repetition is not something good. And proofreading strategies. Effective proofreading involves checking for common grammatical errors and ensuring clarity. Focus on identifying run-on sentences, fragments, and subject-verb agreement during revisions. It would be very good if we can just find maybe 1 minute, even half a minute to just to be able to proofread our essay at the end to notice this kind of mistakes. That would be great. And learning from our mistakes, identify and document recurring grammatical mistakes to facilitate improvements. Regular analysis of errors provides insights and helps avoid similar issues in future writing. We can have a kind of journal, for our grammatical mistakes and just review them and learn from them. And studying grammar rules. It's very good that we try to familiarize ourselves with essential grammar rules, such as verb forms, punctuation. Dedicated study can improve grammatical accuracy and reinforce the rules necessary for effective writing. It is important to just consider some time studying, actually, not just let's go as it happens. And seeking feedback. This is really of high importance in my idea, that obtaining feedback from peers or instructors can highlight areas for improvement. Constructive criticism allows for targeted revisions and enhances overall writing quality in IELTS tasks. It would be great to be able to, just check the mistakes with an instructor, in my idea. And that's it. Here then we have just 2 examples.
So education is important for everyone. People go to school to learn things. Schools give knowledge to students. Well, I find it funny. The government should build more schools so more people can go there. Go where? If there is no school, people cannot study and get jobs. So it's just a collection of simple sentences that don't even look really connected sometimes. Educated people help the economy to grow. So education is good. Schools must be near to the people, because transport is sometimes a problem. More teachers is also needed because the students need help. The tons of errors in the examples that you mentioned earlier. Government should take care of these problems. So there's a collection of issues here in range, in accuracy, and maybe if somebody's watching this video, it would be a good idea to pause here and see how many they can count, how many problems, how many changes they can make to this paragraph to improve it. But now we are going to see the good example of the same topic, right? So same paragraph with good range and accuracy. Okay, let's take a look at that one. Okay, so same idea, same paragraph. Would you like to read this one or should I go?
If you go, I would be thankful.
Okay. So education plays a vital role in the development of individuals and society. By attending school, students gain essential knowledge and skills that prepare them for future careers. To ensure equal access, the government should invest in building more schools, particularly in rural areas where educational facilities are often limited. Without access to proper education, individuals may struggle to find employment, which can negatively impact the economy. Furthermore, hiring additional qualified teachers is crucial, as smaller class sizes allow students to receive personalized attention and support. Addressing these challenges would significantly improve the quality of education and contribute to a nation's progress. Wow, you didn't just improve the grammar here, you also improved the vocabulary, which is the topic of the next video, the lexical resource. Yes, but wonderful. Go ahead, give us some comments about some changes that were made to improve this paragraph.
Yeah, I actually one of actually the ones that as you were reading, I was just looking at. By looking, I mean the use of punctuation, how important that is. Here we can see the comma, the full stops, and using complex sentences, compound sentences, words such as furthermore here. We know that, okay, this person is going to add another idea. And lots of this kind of, the things, no confusion here. You don't see any kind of confusion. Everything is in its place.
Right. And also, you probably noticed that by using different, especially complex sentences, you can convey more complex ideas. So sometimes if you have a deep, complicated idea, you won't be able to convey that easily just by repeating short, small, simple sentences. Sometimes you do need more complex sentences to show contrast between two different ideas, for example.
Yes, exactly. Using prepositions, without access to something may happen. And then which can negatively impact the economy. And that's perfect. This writing is perfect in my idea.
Yeah, could be written with a conditional too, like if you don't have access to proper education. So it's like connecting two different ideas. Beautiful.
Yes. Okay, and that's the end of my presentation here.
Awesome. That's great. So let me just go ahead quickly and review the band descriptors for grammatical range and accuracy. This is our tradition for the marking criteria. So you have my screen, right?
Yes, now I do. Yes.
For grammatical range and accuracy. So I'm just looking at a 9 on the top, then there's the 8, and then there's the 7. Let's start with the 7. So you get a 7 for grammatical range and accuracy if you use a variety of complex structures. So a variety of them is needed in order to get a 7. If you produce frequent error-free sentences. Now, remember, it's not all of your sentences are error-free. Frequent error-free sentences is enough to get a 7 for grammar. So that's about the accuracy. So remember, the first bullet point here is about range, variety of complex structures. So you show that you are able to use multiple complex structures, and then you produce most of them as error-free sentences. So first is variety, second is accuracy, and finally, you need to have good control of grammar and punctuation, but may make a few errors. So if you show good control, but still have some few errors, it's considered to get a band score of 7 for grammatical range and accuracy. Now, if you improve that, if you want to get an 8 for this criterion, you use a wide range of structures. So remember, we went from variety to a wide range of structure. So it's not just variety, it's variety with a wider range. So what it means basically is more complex sentences and simple sentences. So remember, when we say range, it's not just referring to complex and compound. It also includes simple. So you need to have all of them: simple sentences, compound, complex, when necessary. The majority of sentences are error-free. So again, it's not frequently error-free. It's majority of them are going to be error-free. So maybe you have just one or two, maybe a few mistakes, and you make only very occasional errors or inappropriacies. So for example, in punctuation or some other aspects of the sentences. And very interesting for me to see what you need to get a 9. So you use a wide range of structures similar to 8, but this time with full flexibility. So it's one level higher than an 8. And accuracy. So full flexibility, full accuracy. However, this is interesting. Rare minor errors occur only as slips. So if it's a slip, so slip is something that even native speakers have sometimes. So slip of a tongue or slip of a mind or slip of a finger. I don't know. Like if you make a mistake and the examiner knows that it's not because you didn't know the grammar, it's just you might call it in the world of technology a typo or something occurring, then that's okay. So it's possible to get a 9 if you have, for example, one missed comma, if it's not very important. So some commas are very, very important. So if it's a minor error, like you need to put a comma somewhere, but it's not a big deal if you don't. You're not going to change the meaning of the sentence so much. And if the examiner believes that that's just a slip, then you still can you can have a chance to get a 9. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So that's for 7, 8, and 9. I think our students are most concerned with those 3 band scores. If somebody wants to learn how to get a 5 or how to get a 3, that's my aim. That's my goal. I want to get a 3. Then please, by all means, you can look up the band descriptors for Task 2 IELTS Writing. It's publicly available online, and only focus on how to get a 3. For example, if you're curious to get a 3, by the way, you need to do this. Exactly. You should use only a very limited range of structure. So if 3 is your goal, please do not have a wide
Come
range
on,
of structure.
why should somebody's goal be just 3?
I mean, you for some reason, I don't know, that it might be a bet with your friend or something. So remember, some of your structures are accurate, only some of them, but most of them should have errors. Okay, so errors predominate. So if you don't have a lot of errors, you can't get a 3. That's important. So and your punctuation should be often faulty.
Often.
If it's not faulty, you're in trouble. You will get more than 3. So all right. So that's the joke of the end.